Welcome to Transformations, interviewing people who are changing our world. I'm your host, Diane J. Shaver, coach to people who are ready to make the changes needed to work and live from the heart. Every week, I interview someone who's doing something to make this a better world for everyone. And each person I interview is very different from the others, but they have in common commitment, dedication, courage, and the strength to create something that helps the larger community. My wish is that they inspire you to add what you can to make this a better, more equitable, just, and joyous world for all. It's my great pleasure to have on our show today, Leon Logothetis, host of the Kindness Diaries on Netflix. If you want to restore your faith in humankind and feel good, I advise you to watch the Kindness Diaries. When I saw it on Netflix, I knew I had to have the man responsible on transformations, and Leon was kind enough to say yes. I want to give you a little bit of background on this amazing person. He is a global adventurer, a motivational speaker, and a philanthropist. It wasn't always that way. Leon used to be a stockbroker in London until he realized that he was uninspired and chronically depressed. And he gave it all up to be on the road. And his motivation was the movie, The Motorcycle Diaries. Some of you may have seen it. It's an oldie but goodie. Leon has visited 100 countries and traveled to every continent. He's teamed up with First Book and drove a car from London to Mongolia, raising money to buy 10,000 books for underprivileged children in America. He also drove a vintage London taxi across the states, giving free cab rides to the needy, and working with Class Wish to bring back hope to the schools of America. He is a man who's literally made a career of giving back. His show, The Kindness Diaries, is, as I said, streaming on Netflix, and you have to watch it. His books, Amazing Adventures of a Nobody, The Kindness Diaries, and Live, Love, Explore, Discover the Way of a Traveler, a roadmap to the life you're meant to live, published by Reader's Digest, are in stores now. And he has a new book, Go Be Kind, which you can pre-order at leonlogothetis.com. To me, Leon is a demonstration that you're not locked into a lifestyle that no longer serves you, and that you can do anything that's in your heart, no matter how crazy it may seem to someone else. But I want to let him share his adventures with you. So please welcome with me, Leon Logothetis. Welcome, Leon. So good to have you here.
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, to say that the Kindness Diaries is inspirational is a real understatement. So it's a huge change to go from stockbroker to man on the road. And what was the series of events? Was it a transforming event? What was it that opened that door for you?
Well, basically, I watched the movie The Motorcycle Diaries, which is a romanticized version of Che Guevara relying on the kindness of strangers across South America. And there was really something about that movie that touched me in a very beautiful way. And I had been sitting behind a desk for many years, well, not many, but quite a few. And on the outside, I had everything you could want, but on the inside, I had nothing that you would want. And I ended up realizing that leaving my desk job was the only way to fully, truly live. And that's what I did.
Wow, that's a lot of courage. And it struck me as a culture here in the States and a lot of places in the world. We like to portray ourselves as having it all together. We don't need anything from anyone. So you go out into the world with no money and you're at the mercy of strangers and you are in a very vulnerable position. What does it feel like to do that?
Well, it's not easy.
No.
But sometimes people say to me, what is the thing that pushed you the most? And the thing that pushed me the most was pain. So I was in a lot of emotional pain, and the pain propelled me to change my life. And that's really why I ended up doing what I did by quitting my job and starting to travel around the world, relying on the kindness of strangers. It was kind of meant to be, I guess.
Yeah, but what does it feel like to be that vulnerable? Because that's extremely vulnerable.
It's difficult sometimes, but you learn to work with it. You learn to vulnerability actually is a superpower at the end of the day. If you're able to be vulnerable, you can tap into parts of your being that those that are not vulnerable cannot.
Yeah. I mean, it's the strongest place to be because nobody can take anything from you in that place. I mean, it's pretty powerful. And I think we tend to define courage as fighting something either literally or metaphorically. But as I watch the Kindness Diaries, I realize real courage is doing the simple, quiet things and letting ourselves be seen. And how does that seem to you? What does courage mean to you?
Courage means living the life that you want to live and not the life that society or your family tell you to live. And hopefully that life touches other lives in the process. Because if you're just living for yourself, then you're not truly being. You have to create a win-win, whereby you are living the life of your dreams and other people are benefiting from it.
I love that. So you go to many countries, and do you see that there's a real difference between people? Are all humans the same? Is there something that makes us different from one another?
I think the greatest thing that I learned on my journeys was that we're all the same, and that we just want to be seen, and we just want to be heard, and we just want to be loved. Doesn't matter what color you are, doesn't matter what religion you are, doesn't matter how much money you have or how little money you have. The most important thing is that we just want to be seen. And a beautiful way of seeing someone is simply being kind.
I love that. I mean, we're at a moment in our culture, and not only our country, other countries too, where kindness is not a big concern. And how do you see the things that we do as individuals counteracting some of what's going on politically everywhere? It's not just in the States.
We've forgotten that kindness is part of who we are. And we think that we just, it's all about negativity. It's all about pain. It's all about all this kind of negative stuff. And I don't see it that way. I see it that, yes, we have all the dark side to us, and that's part of who we are as well.
Sure.
But the good side, the love, the compassion, the empathy is also part of who we are. And the sooner we embody that as well, the easier it will be to live from our hearts.
I think this is so true. Even though you travel with the crew, I know that they're not allowed to help you. And I think the only time I ever saw any of that was, I think it was still in Alaska when your little Beetle got stuck in the snow and it was life-threatening. So I want to ask you kind of a three-part question. What is it like to be in that kind of situation where you don't know what is going to happen to you? Why do you think we protect ourselves so much from being there? And what would we learn if we allowed ourselves to be in that place?
Well, the first part of that question, what it's like, is it's in some ways you feel very alive because you have to act in the moment. And many times we're like stuck in safety mode, whereby, we're not really truly living. And believe it or not, I've forgotten the second question. What was it?
Let me see. I have favorite too. Teaching. I can't find it now. I love it. Oh, why are we so afraid of putting ourselves in that situation? And you kind of already did the third one, which is how does it feel? So
yeah, so we are conditioned to stay away from danger. We are conditioned to live in a certain fashion. And when you put yourself out there and you take risks, you're going outside of your conditioning, and that sometimes makes it very scary. And many of us don't want to be scared, so we stay stuck.
Yeah, absolutely. Our conversation reminds me, I just read part of an excerpt really of a book called Freedom from the Human Condition by Jeremy Griffith. He's an Australian biologist. And what he talks about, and this keeps coming up as we're talking here, is that when we came onto this earth as humans, our job was to be instinctual and follow what we knew inside that we were supposed to do. And then our brains evolved as we evolved, and we got to reasoning and thinking things through and trying to understand things. And that set up an internal conflict in us. And I'm wondering if you see any of this and what's going on now, and there's almost two factions of people now: those who know that we have to get back to our heart in order to help our planet, in order to help one another, and those that are insisting that we need to keep the status quo. So do you see any of that conflict going on? Do you see kind of what he's positing? And that's a very oversimplified way of saying what he's talking about.
Yeah, you just have to turn the news on.
Yeah.
Turn the news on every day, and you see that happening all the time. You see left, right, right, left, right, left, and yeah, it's an interesting time to be alive.
It is, and it's a time when people are having to step out of their comfort zone and be seen. And so that kind of is going back to what you said about feeling so alive once you allow yourself to be seen. But it's a scary place for many people. So what is it that you're trying to teach or demonstrate with the Kindness Diaries? What do you want people to understand? I mean, I know the basic about kindness, but I think there's more to it as well.
Well, look, I just want people to understand that there's another way to live, and that you don't have to sit and follow the tenets of society. You can go beyond that and live from your heart. You can create your own type of life. You can obviously come from kindness and empathy and compassion, but there's a whole new world waiting for someone who's willing to jump out of the frying pan.
Yeah. And one of the things I watched part of the second series today with the missionary couple, and you asked them, if I can give you something, you want it to be something that will take care of you or take care of other people? And they said other people, and you went and helped with this house. Do you see that kind of thing in many people, that that they have enough substance in themselves where they can say, no, I don't need help, but there are other people who do?
Look, some people clearly would say, I don't want help, give it to someone else. And
Mm-hmm.
some people would say, I do want help.
Mm-hmm.
It depends. It depends on the level of their awareness. It depends on whether they need help. You know, the missionaries clearly didn't need help. So had they needed help, maybe they would have said, we'll take it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
But with you, either one would have been okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I love that.
But I also kind of knew what they were going to say.
Yeah,
Because I'd already spoken to them, I'd connected with them. I sensed they didn't need anything.
yeah, yeah. So you weren't surprised by what they said?
No.
So what have been some of the biggest surprises for you on your journey in Kindness Diaries? What were the things that happened that you didn't expect?
I would say the biggest surprise at the beginning of all my journeys is that there are so many good people out there. There are people that come from their hearts. There are people that live from their hearts, that use kindness as a daily part of their lives. And yet, if we watch the news and we listen to the media, we wouldn't know these people existed.
So do you think that in some ways, while the media is important, of course, and free press is obviously critical, do you feel that it distracts us sometimes from seeing something else?
Definitely. I mean, I'm clearly pro media as well, but sometimes it's very negative and it's very surface level. There's no ability to kind of see the world from a different perspective. It's like one perspective, and even if it's a different perspective from the mind, it's still one perspective, which is the mind.
Yeah. And that's going back to Jeremy Griffith's book about the instinctual versus the mind. Yeah, absolutely. What made you come from London to the States and California, which is to me diametrically opposed to London? What was the choice?
Well, if you've ever been to London, you'll know that it rains all the time.
It does.
It's very cloudy and it's very depressing sometimes. So I was on holiday in LA and I decided that I loved it. So I moved here.
Yeah, it's such a different lifestyle. I mean, it's like completely opposite.
Yes, it is.
So, and obviously that fits you because you're still there.
Exactly.
So while I was waiting for you, Eric told me that were teaching a class. So what classes are you teaching?
I'm not sure what Eric was saying.
He said,
Oh, I was doing I was just answering questions for a college in Florida.
oh, okay. So
yeah.
Are you teaching someone?
No. I don't teach. No.
Okay.
They reached out to me and they said, would you be willing to come to our class and answer some questions? I said, yes.
Cool. What kind of questions, not to tell tales out of school, but I'm just curious, what were the things that people wanted to know, the genre of things people wanted to know?
Just basically how I did the show, how long it took, what was the language barriers, how did I decide to take the risk to do it, what should they do, these kind of questions.
Okay. Were these people in the theater or in television or something?
No, they were in a journalism class in Florida.
Okay, I love it. Thank you for answering that. It's something. So you've written quite a few books. So how do you have time to do your show and record that and then do the books? How do you do that?
Well, when I'm on the show, I don't write the books. When I'm doing the books, I don't do a show. So the show doesn't take that long. I mean, season 1 took 4.5 months.
Yeah.
5.5 months. Season 2 took 3.5 months, and then you have the other time where you can do other stuff.
Okay, but that feels important to you to get it out through the written word.
Absolutely, definitely.
Okay, why?
Because I want people because as a kid I used to read books. Books helped me. They kept me company.
Yeah.
They made me wiser. And I wanted to be able to share that with as many people as I could.
Books are powerful. I mean,
yeah.
It's a way that we have to spend time with people that we will never get a chance to meet, but we get to hear how they see life. It's powerful. So do you have others coming up, other parts of the series coming up, or where are you with that?
Well, we're working on season 3.
Okay.
And at the moment, that's where we're at.
Okay. And are you going to be, not to give tales out of school, but are you going to be in a vehicle this time or not?
I will be in a vehicle.
Okay.
But you'll have to wait and see what vehicle.
Okay. Because, I mean, you're progressing. You went from motorbike to VW. So, I mean, I don't know what the next one will be. It's got to be bigger, probably.
Yellow submarine.
Oh, no. That would be something else. So what do you think we need to know about life that we overlook and that the Kindness Diaries is showing us and made you aware of? And were there surprises for you there?
Look, again, we've forgotten how to be human.
Yeah.
And being human means to connect with each other. And when you fail to connect and when you live a disconnected life, you're taking steps away from your humanity.
Yeah. Do you think that most people, or not most, a lot of people are that disconnected?
I would say many of us are disconnected.
Yeah.
We think we're connected because we've got the Instagram, the Facebook, Google, and all this, but really connection comes from one heart to another, or connection comes to nature.
Right. That's very true. Do you think that as you're kind of seeing individuals as you go along, and maybe small groups, do you think that as politically, people have said that it's grassroots that changes the world? Do you think that this can change the world as you and me and some other people that I interview are doing this kind of thing? Do you think we can have enough influence to wake people up, to change the world?
Absolutely. If, for example, Lady Gaga, you know, she's really into this kindness movement. Having someone like that with that kind of influence definitely helps. Definitely.
Yeah. So there's hope, because that's what the whole political thing is. How do you feel, and you don't have to answer this, but I need to ask you anyway, how do you feel about the political system here? Not persons, but the system itself.
Well, I try and stay apolitical, so I will continue to do that for as long as I can.
I will let you off the hook. I will let you off the hook. I wasn't planning.
The challenge with getting to with politics is that whatever you say, 50% of the people are going to hate you.
Yeah.
So, you know, stay beyond the ego and stay in the heart, and then you can touch more people.
I agree. I agree. So after the series, let's say it continues another 3 or 4 or 5 years, what do you want to do? And what do you want to do when you grow up? Let me ask you that.
I never want to grow up.
Oh, okay. All right. But let's supposing in another world, on another planet, they found the new black hole, maybe there. What would you want to do?
I would, if they found a black hole, I would want to.
They photographed it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Go,
wow.
Go check it out.
That's amazing.
First time.
I always wanted to be a soccer player.
Ah, okay. So will you be in training?
I will train to be a soccer player, yes.
Okay, I love it. And can I ask what team? Talk about political upset. What team?
Oh, I can't tell you what team.
Okay, okay. But
no, I can. I support Liverpool.
Oh, okay. All right. There's a lot of boos and hisses, I'm sure, other places, but
yeah.
That's okay. So that would be your next thing. All right. So after, in between, you're being a soccer player and finishing the kindness diaries, what else do you want to do?
I want to start a family.
Ah, lovely. Okay. You want a big family? Small family?
Not too big. Maybe 2 kids and a wife.
Okay. Okay. Are you working on that project now?
Well, I need a wife first to work on the other part of the project. So
right, but that's a project too. So I'm asking you. You open the door. I'm asking you. Are you working on that project?
I'm working on it.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
And when you travel so much, that makes it a little bit more difficult.
It does indeed. It definitely makes it more challenging.
Okay, so this series, how many months do you think you're going to take shooting the series, the new one?
Probably a couple of months, maybe 3 or 4.
Oh, okay. So the time is condensing a little bit.
Yes.
Okay, okay. So I interview people who, like you, are changing the world and so forth. And what kind of people am I missing? Who should I be interviewing?
Children.
Ah, okay. Tell me why.
Because they're wise.
Yeah.
And they're still connected.
Yeah.
And, you know, many of us spend years in therapy trying to get back to that connection, but they're already connected. So I would suggest you have a children's special.
Okay, I like that very much. And there is a difference in the children now. I mean, when I was coming up, when you were coming up, when the next generation was coming up, there's a very big difference between the kids now and the earlier generations. They are so much wiser.
Yes, they are.
I just heard there's a 14-year-old girl who just produced and put together a movie, a big movie with big stars. She's 14 years old. I mean, you know.
Wow, that's amazing.
Isn't that amazing? But I wonder if when we were children, and we're different generations, but when we were children, I wonder if we had been allowed to do those things, if we would have done different things, or is it just that children are getting wiser?
I think they're probably getting wiser, but also there's maybe a little bit more freedom.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot. I would say in certain countries, specifically in America, there's a lot more freedom than there was.
I like thinking about that. Yes and no, but I understand. I think for kids, yes. I think a lot of people are feeling helpless right now. So what would you say to somebody who is feeling really trapped and really helpless about what's going on around them in the world? What would you say to them?
I would tell them what Winston Churchill told the British people.
Okay.
Never, never, never give up. I would also tell them that when you find yourself walking through hell, keep walking. And what he meant by that was when there's pain and suffering, don't give up, don't turn around, keep on going. And at the end of the tunnel, things will work themselves out.
Yeah. I think, and you mentioned this before, I think pain is a great way to grow. I mean, it brings us to the places we need to be. Do you ever foresee a time when we won't need that and we can just like go where we need to go?
Maybe in a few generations, but not yet.
Yeah, yeah. One of the things that I've become aware of, there are a lot of changes happening in our world. And as you've said, a lot of them are really, really good. But I'm wondering if we will see them in this generation and the next generation. How many generations do you think before we see a world where what you're talking about and what I'm talking about will be the norm?
I don't know, but I've met some pretty wise kids.
Yeah.
And, they certainly seem to have some wisdom flowing through them. And hopefully there are many of them.
And they will make the changes.
Yes.
I mean, if you look at the Parkland kids, I mean, look at how wise they are, how powerful they are. So that's another place as well. I don't want to ask you political things. I keep wanting to, but I know you don't want that. So I will not go there. So even though we see a lot of things in the news, and it's not just in this country. There's some South American and countries and Arab countries that are having great upheavals, but you still see this as part of moving toward kindness?
I think that all you can do is work on yourself.
Yeah.
And if you work on yourself and you create a moment-to-moment change in your life, the ripple effects will keep on growing. If you concentrate on the big, massive problems that we have in the world, and you don't have the power to change those things, then you're just going to be spinning your wheels.
Yeah.
But concentrate on what's right in front of you.
I like that. Remember Voltaire said, tend your own garden, remember?
Exactly.
And then the other thing that came to me just now, and we kind of talked about that pain right now is the way that leads us to change. And I'm wondering if what countries are going through is what it's like for a human being, that we go through the pain in order to get better. And I'm wondering if that's not exactly what's happening in these countries. It's the same thing.
Yeah, I'm sure it's something to do with that for sure.
Yeah. So it's all hopeful. I love this.
Definitely.
So what are the questions I haven't asked you that I should ask you?
That's a good question.
To make you work.
Yeah. What are the questions you haven't asked me that you should ask me?
Well, in other words, another way to say it is what else would you like to tell people?
Look, ultimately, I just want people to know that how they show up in the world matters. Yeah. And they get to choose. You get to choose how you show up. Yeah, sure, there's some bad things happen out there. I get it. It's tough. Life at times is tough. But you get to choose, you get to choose how you show up. And that's a very important part of life.
Okay, and what else haven't I asked you that I should ask you?
You haven't asked me.
Okay.
What haven't you asked me? I don't know. I mean, I think that's it. You've done it. We're finished. You've what's the word? I can't even think. I think that's it. I mean, I can't think of anything because I give a lot of speeches and you've done it really well. You've asked me questions that are really based on my speech, and you've never even seen my speech. So
I haven't. Maybe I should. I'm just saying.
Maybe. But yeah, no, it's really cool.
Okay, I love that. I will have to fill in 15 more minutes, but other than that, all right, tell me about your book. Tell me about Go Be Kind.
So Go Be Kind is a book that inspires people to go out and be kind.
Thank you so much and goodbye. No.
No.
Come on, Leon.
No, basically, it's people always say to me, they're like, Leon, I can't quit my job. I can't be kind like you. I have a mortgage to pay, I have a family to look after. So I wrote Go Be Kind to show people that you can be kind moment to moment. Yeah. That it's about how you show up in everyday life. It's about how you show up with your family. It's about how you show up with the people in Starbucks. It's about how you show up. And it's not about quitting your job. Yeah. It's making a commitment to be kind. And there are 28 and a half adventures, and each adventure kind of inspires you to go out into the world and connect with the world.
Yeah. I think that people seeing your show, which is so powerful, I mean, it's pretty impressive. But I think that that's what they get the idea, that I have to leave everything. And I like what you're saying, that just be where you are and do what you can wherever you are and whatever that means. I like that.
Exactly. As Voltaire said, tend your own garden.
You just stole that from me. Do you know that?
I did. I'm really sorry.
No, you're not. I can tell. You're not sorry at all. Okay. So what's your next book after this?
Well, actually, this book only came out a few weeks ago. So please don't pressurize me to write another one. I don't know. I don't know when I'm going to write another one. It has to be like, you have to feel called to write it, you know? Mm-hmm. And I feel like, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe we'll see. We'll see. I'm traveling to India in a couple of months to do a little project. Maybe that will be my next book.
Cool. When you're in India, go look up Prashant Ligam, and he and 20 people from a village, he's educated, but the other people are not, are making houses, roadways, walkways out of recycled plastic. They reprocess it, and you wouldn't know that it was plastic. They're doing incredible things. And
oh wow, where are they based?
I'll send it to you.
Yeah, please do.
I will. And he will not hire anybody with a degree. If you have a degree, you cannot work for him.
Okay, so, well then I won't be able to work for him, I'm afraid.
But it's the 20 villages, and they're coming up with all kinds of projects. Some of them are like making book bags out of plastics. And you look at this stuff and you cannot tell what it's made out of. I mean, it's pretty powerful. So I'll send that to you. But you need to look him up. What parts are you going to? Mumbai.
Well, we're going to start in Delhi.
Okay.
And then we're just going to go wherever the winds take us.
Okay. All right. Well, I will send that stuff to you. I love that. And so this is going to be from India to wherever. We don't even know now where that series is going to go.
No, just starting in India. It's a documentary, and we're just gonna. It's a secret documentary, and and we're gonna just go around India trying to learn some lessons.
Huh. Okay, so in order, and let me go back. So you're doing the Kindness Diaries, and you're doing this documentary. Kindness
Diaries is early next year.
Okay, so the documentary is going to be released when?
We're still working on that. We're going to film it. And then we're going to go from there.
Okay. All right. And I will send you the person in India and stuff. Anyway, I will let you go. I can feel you getting antsy. So I will let you go. This has been wonderful. And the Kindness Diaries, the only complaint I have, and it is a big complaint, I am tired of buying Kleenex because I cry all the time. I mean, and it can be anything. And most of the crying is because I'm so touched. None of it is from sadness. So anyway, that's my only complaint. I just want to tell you. So.
Well, I'm very sorry that we made you cry, but I will tell you that was our aim. We wanted people to feel.
Yeah.
because we knew that when you feel something, it changes you.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
And these have changed me as well, and probably reaffirmed everything that I've been thinking and working on and stuff. So I thank you so much for that. I really appreciate you. And I can't wait to see the next season and the documentary. And I will definitely try and get your book, because I want to see what you've got to share there. So Leon, thank you so very much. I really appreciate this.
Thank you very much for having me.
So now you know, as you're listening to Transformations, what one person can do. And I think it's important what Leon said is you don't have to quit your job. You don't have to leave your family. You can start right where you are and doing something that is kind and doing something that will change the world. And again, that Voltaire quote is tend your own garden. So what that means is wherever you are, whatever circumstances you're in, you can do something that will change the world. And it will also change your life, because if you heard what Leon was saying, that it made him feel more alive. So this is the kind of thing that I want to encourage you to do. And remember to watch The Kindness Diaries. You will love it. It's streaming on Netflix, and you can pre-order his book, Go Be Kind, at Logothetis.com, and that will be written out in the information that accompanies this. So my wish is that you're so inspired that you're gonna start doing something, and I get to interview you. So please stay in touch with me so I can interview you and see how you're making this a better world. So for Transformations, interviewing people, changing our world, this is your host, Diane J. Shaver, coach to people who are ready to make the changes needed to work and live from the heart, the most important thing that we can do as humans. You can hear past interviews with some amazing people in the US and India, Jordan, and Australia by going to www.entrepreneurmindworld.com/transformations/podcast.